Drone pit stop. Woohoo! Hey guys, welcome back to another review video here on drones. This is my DJI Mavic Pro Platinum, and today we're doing kind of a system or a kit that's made by Drone Pit Stop. This is to include the propeller guards, as well as landing gear and a sunshade that actually goes over the camera so that you can obviously protect the camera, keep the sun away from it, and still get air intake that you don't get with the standard one here. So less glare, things like that. So we're going to go ahead and get into it and start installing these things to show you how they go on. And then we're going to show it in flight, and then we'll wrap things up. So I've got one on here to kind of show you what it looks like after it's on. And I'm going to go ahead and actually do another one here. Let's do one of the front ones because these have the angled pieces on them. So you can actually see there are ones that have square, and there are the ones that have the angled. Now each one is made for a specific spot. So like this one is actually made for this side here, but this one over here cannot go on this way because it's actually angled the opposite direction. So if I try to put it on, it doesn't fit, right? That's kind of, they have to go in a specific location. They're all made for one specific location. So you actually take them apart there. So they actually just have the snaps on here. Take them apart, you put the top piece over and slide it all the way down. And then from the bottom, you bring the other piece up onto the arm here, and then we just go ahead and snap both front and back clasps, and it's in place. Oh, no, I'm not actually snapped in yet. Let's try that again. And sometimes, I have actually had this happen a couple times, where you have to actually, these will actually pop out. But once they actually are in, there we go, now they're snapped in. Once they're in, everything's actually rigid. So it's always great to double check it. Then you can actually go ahead and put the propeller back on. So, lock it back on, and then you can see how it's designed where it's actually bowed out further than where the end of the propeller is. So you continue on here and you actually do the other two as well. Just put the propellers off to the side here. This one I already have ready, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw this one on here. Snap it down there. And you can see how there are these two little pieces here that actually line up with those holes. You go ahead and actually just make sure that those line up too. That way you get in there and then snap. Let's see the front one there. Oh, I gotta push it up a little higher. See, it's not in that hole. So see, I didn't make sure. There we go. Now it is, and we're good to go there. And I'm gonna go ahead and just do the next one. So undo those again. Snap it on here. Bring them to the bottom. There we go. And then we can go ahead and put the propellers back on yet again. And now we are fully set with our guards in place. So now we have the propeller guards on. Now we're going to actually go ahead and do the sunshade. Now you don't have to have the sunshade as well in addition to it. You can do all of these separate if you want, but I'm going to show you the sunshade as well. So I actually have the standard cover and gimbal mount in here. This is the sunshade right here that comes from the Drone Pit Stop, which you can actually buy this separately. You don't have to buy this with the propeller guards, but this does come as a kit as well. And it just goes on, it hooks on just like the actual existing cover as well, except for that it is open, so airflow will go through the actual cooling system, but then it doesn't impede on your actual camera itself. So that's the actual propeller, or the camera guard as well, the shield there. Last, we have the feet. Okay, so the last piece we're going to do here is the landing gear themselves. There are three pieces of the landing gear. Two actually are two additional, basically longer legs for the front, and then the third is a piece that actually extends the rear. Now they do come as a three-piece set. So here's the pieces here, and now I also haven't put on the foam pads. I'm going to go ahead and put those on right now before I actually put them on the drone. These foam pads essentially give the non-stick surface to the bottom of the actual landing gear. Now you do not have to put these foam pads on if you don't want to, so depending on your flight environment is whether or not you'll want to put these on. But essentially they just stick to the bottom of each of the feet. If I do this real quick here, I'll show you what they look like with them on here. Now, like I said, I have not actually flown with them on here. However, the drone does have rubber feet on it already, so you're already used to a non-stick surface. So there's what it looks like with the foam pad and without the foam pad. Now I'm going to go ahead and real quick and get those on here. There are the two longer ones as well for the bottom of the rear. So I'm going to get those on real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that we have the foam pads on all of the landing gear, we're all set to go ahead and install it. I'm going to put the rear on first. Now the rear actually clips right onto the existing feet here, the little landing pieces here. Essentially it just clips, literally clips into the holes. So all we have to do is hook it on, bow it out, and then hook it into place, and that's as simple as it goes actually. As you can see, it actually fits the contour of the machine perfectly and stays away from any of the mechanics down here, but gives us plenty of room where we're not going to get this dirty at all. The next pieces are going to be for the front. Now they do have a left and a right. They are labeled, so this one says R for right, this one says L for left. So if you look at the front of the machine, right, this would be right, this would be left. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick these in here. They do just basically go on like this. They can only go on one direction when they're on, but you'll know real quick if you put the right and the left on the right side, because if you put them on the wrong side, it'll look goofy. They won't actually sit flat on the actual or on the whatever surface you're on. So now we have a much higher aircraft. We have a lot safer aircraft with the bumper guards, and then we are protecting the gimbal as well. So this is a three-piece system. You can buy these pieces independently, and I'll put links down below where you can purchase them each independently or as the entire kit here, as I received from Drone Pit Stop. So we're going to go ahead and show it in action outside, and from there, yeah, you'll get to see what it looks like. Now, as you can see here, one of the nice features of having the landing gear is that you get up high enough where you're not actually going to get things stuck to the bottom of the aircraft. In this case, where I would typically actually take a shovel real quick to my backyard here to kind of level off a section where it didn't have a whole lot of loose snow or anything. In this case, I'm actually good. I'm high enough up off of the snow that I'm not getting anything on the aircraft. So we'll go ahead and start it up here. And we're good to go. So that made a really quick and easy way to keep my aircraft out of the snow. As you can see here with the actual gimbal cover, we're here in flight now. I even have the landing gear still attached. And the gimbal cover is completely protecting the camera from anything. Obviously landing, taking off, things like that. The one downside of the gimbal cover that I have personally noticed, and I'll show you here in the actual footage itself, is that if I'm actually taking video with it, and I actually take the camera, if you actually go into that mode where you can actually go up with it, I can actually see the gimbal cover a little bit in the corners, especially if you're during flight. I'll show you here in a second. Right now I have it in sport mode. If I actually fly in sport mode, you'll really see it. So let's see here. And we'll go forward, and there it is. So while it is very protective, it is fantastic. It's not for everybody, and it's not for every kind of use. So it is pretty neat, though. I will give it that. Okay, so here I am in my studio. My drone's ready to go, and this is to demonstrate the propeller guards. Essentially, they're used to keep objects from obviously hitting the propellers, because if you run into an object that's going to hit here, the propeller can't hit it. So inside we have walls. This is a probably stupid way to do this, but small studio drone flight, and I'm going to actually run it into the wall. Not very fast, but just to prove a point. Alright, I'm going to tilt the camera up a little bit so you can see what you're seeing. Running into the wall. Running into the wall. Obviously I can't go anywhere. Alright, let's bring it back over and let's get it down. You know what? I'm going to have to give myself credit on that one. This is not a big area. But obviously we didn't have a problem, and we worked just fine. So I have the Pro Platinum that has the 8331 blades on it. And one thing I will notice is that the front ones, because they have this angle here, you can hear it. It actually does touch it slightly. Now, obviously, once it gets in the air, I think the air lift on the propeller blades is enough where it doesn't touch it. But before it actually spins up, it does actually rub on this. Now, in my flight experience so far, I've only had one time where I started getting a little bit of shimmering to it. And I caused for alarm for me, to be honest, because then I removed it and everything seemed to be fine. But ever since I've had them back on, I don't have any issues. So I don't know what caused the shimmering. However, if I was to say one thing about these propeller guards, they were definitely made for the original Mavic, the Mavic Pro. And with the newer, heavier slant propeller blades, they do have that possibility of touching the front ones. The back ones don't, because they're flat, but the front ones have this heavier angle on them, and they get just close enough where they touch. But like I said, once you get in flight, I didn't notice anything. You could obviously, in the last little bit there, you could actually hear it when I started up the propellers, if you notice on that. So that's one thing to notice. All right, so who's this package for? I mean, essentially, you can buy all three of these separately, and you can buy it all as a kit. As a kit, it's one of those things that if you want all three devices, you may not have to run all three of them at once like I am doing right now, and I don't. I typically don't run the propeller guards if I'm outside. Now, if you're a beginner, these might be a really smart idea, especially even outside. Maybe you have a fence, or you have playground equipment, or you have trees. It's just, if you're not used and you're not comfortable to fly, then the propeller guards are great. If you are comfortable with flying, take them off. I mean, to be honest about it, you don't need them because you're used to it. If you're in an enclosed area, even if you are good, it's probably a good idea to use them. Now, of course, like I said, they get pretty close to the 8331 propellers, so that's something to keep in mind. Even if you have the Mavic Pro and you went to the Platinum propellers for the noise level, they do touch. But like I said, I've only noticed it when it's just spinning up, but once it's in flight, there's nothing additional to it. So the landing gear, awesome actually if you're in any kind of, different soil. Like if you're not on pavement or just standard grass. Even if you're on grass, actually, it gets it up off of the grass so your propellers aren't cutting the grass for wherever you are. On sand, on mud, on snow like I did. Great. Those are awesome. And they're so simple and so small and lightweight, so you can throw them in your bag and not really take any more space up. The camera guard is one of those things, is depending on the situation of whether or not it's something that I would actually use. Most of the time, I'm not using it. To be honest with you, I do like to be able to fly with the camera up sometimes, and I also do like to fly in sport mode while taking video, and in sport mode, it becomes useless. So if you're going to fly and you know you're going to throw it into sport mode, you even want to just see where you're going, don't use this because it doesn't have a high enough cutout on it that allows you to really see where you're going. But if you're looking to take good photography and you're worried about maybe where you are, something hitting the camera, awesome. It works great. So again, first time flyers, because you're not going to go into sport mode anyway, having this camera guard on here is probably a really smart idea while still maintaining airflow to the actual unit itself so it keeps cool. So I will post links to all three of them separately as well as the entire kit. If you want to check it out, please do. If you purchase through those links, you are supporting the program here. I apologize if my nose sounds weird because my head cold is going all sorts of crazy to me, but it's up and down. Either way, if you have any questions for me, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for sharing, thanks for subscribing, thanks for commenting, thanks for letting me know what you think and what you would actually use this for. But thanks again, and we'll see you on a future video. It didn't land quite right.